Hey everyone, welcome back to That's Growth Ops. We've got a special episode today featuring a true legend in the world of sales, Jilly Frat. She's been with HubSpot for almost 15 years, was the very first channel account manager, and if there's anyone who knows how to sell, adapt, and thrive, it's Jill. Now, in today's episode, we're digging into her journey, the power of a growth mindset, and why being human is the key to successful sales. Plus, we're going to get into some real talk about mental health, navigating challenges, and keeping your energy high when times are tough. Get ready for some great insights and a lot of laughs. Let's get into it. Right. Today's guest is a true sales legend, nearly 15 years with HubSpot and counting. She's the very first channel account manager helping build and shape HubSpot's partner program, and now she's leading corporate sales on the West Coast. Known for her unmatched dedication, sales expertise, and infectious energy, she's even been called the kind of person who could sell HubSpot to Salesforce. Please welcome Jilly Frat, a powerhouse who brings the same passion to her work as she does playing the viola for the Portland Symphony Orchestra. Get ready for some insight, a few laughs, and a masterclass in sales.
Dang! I know those intros. I just want them to walk around like behind me everywhere I go with like a recording.
It's a superpower called Rich.
Wow. The only thing I'll correct, and it's the only thing. Well, I guess it's not really.
Because you would sell HubSpot to Salesforce? Was that the one thing?
Oh, all day long. Leading the West in sales. I'm technically an individual contributor by choice. By choice, my friends, okay? So I wouldn't want to, I have a manager, I have a director, I have a VP, so I'm leading my territory today.
Territory of one. Okay, well, here, I got a question for you.
My comedy club is like rolling. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. You're like hitting that P club all day. Why did you choose to work as an individual contributor and not on a team?
Oh, it's a conscious decision. Probably monthly, I reevaluate that. So, okay, how much we only have a half an hour, right? I don't know.
I mean,
this is a big one.
45 minutes to an hour is what
right.
Well, keep it real.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep it real because for all the there's a club of individual contributors here at HubSpot, and in the corporate world, staying an individual contributor can be looked down upon, right? Like you're only really contributing if you're becoming a manager or you're going up that ladder, or like you're not really contributing anything. Something I really appreciated about HubSpot, and this actually helped recruit me to HubSpot, by the way, was that if you decide to stay an individual contributor, there's a promotion path within that role. So there's a designated, we appreciate you. The more senior you are, you don't have to ask us for a promotion. We're going to give you stock. We're going to give you, more responsibility if you want it, or you can keep your autonomy. So I've been at HubSpot long enough, obviously,
How long?
What?
How long have you been at HubSpot? Would have
right.
never seen that happening. So you never know. And when you're around great people that work hard, you attract those people, because being around not those people feels weird. At least it does for me. And one of the, right? Like being a high performer, being in that room 100%, of 20.
100%. You are absolutely the sum of the 5 people that are closest to you on any given day.
A lot feels to some as a burden, but really it's a gift. It's harder to find, for me, it's harder to find those people in real life, being so remote. And I live in Monterey, California. It's very much a little micro community on the West Coast. And so thankful when I have the opportunity to lean in with someone like you and all the people we've been connected with in our universe, because it's hard to find people in the new world of digital life.
It's harder and it's easier all at the same time, right? Like, so, I mean, think about it. Before the internet or Zoom, or the fact that we can throw these things together without a rehearsal because we do it so much. Would I have ever met you?
No.
Probably not.
No.
No.
That's a good point.
No. So I do think that the world of how we communicate is unusually fast. Sometimes it can be unusually impersonal. However, we can find pockets of people like ourselves faster than we ever have in like groups.
And you kind of know
All
immediately.
places. You do, right? Because you can evaluate things that you like. Partly why HubSpot's so great is we hire these great people. It's so rare that I've ever met someone who's worked at HubSpot that I wouldn't be a friend with. And they come now from all walks of life, okay? All different things. And it's kind of this common thread. Even if they're here for 6 months or a year or 2 years or 15 years or 5 years, if like HubSpot's there somewhere, I'm like, we're probably going to get along. And I don't even know how the recruiting team does that. If you're a HubSpot partner, if you're a HubSpot partner that's lasted as long with all the changes that we've had, that like can keep a positive face and is like still in it to win it, guess what? We're friends. You don't even have to tell me, right?
The game changed and you can still play it a billion times over. Yeah, you get it.
Sure.
Because you're adaptable. You probably have a positive attitude. I think Yamini just yesterday posted on LinkedIn about how important a growth mindset is for people at HubSpot. I thought that was like
it's a requirement.
Wonderful.
We take heart so seriously. Well, I mean, I get people asking for jobs 5 or 6 times a day. And I just, at this point, I just respond with the heart. Do you know someone? Could you submit my resume? I'm like, how about you answer what you provide for this and be prepared? Because it's the first thing that the recruiter's going to ask.
And when did that pop up? Was that heart around in the 20 people room days, or did that happen as just like as the business matured and it became harder to hold on to the values that were naturally distilled in the beginning? You kind of have to name it to make sure, hey, it's on the wall. That's who you are. I don't know.
Yeah. I want to say it was part of Dharmesh's original culture code, but it's so interwoven in the culture, I couldn't even be sure. But heart has been around for as long as my brain can remember, which, being a mother could be 30 minutes ago because I have like bored sometimes, you know what I mean? But no, it seems like that's been interwoven in the fabric of HubSpot since we got here. Did you ever read Mark Roberge's book on hiring sales folks?
No, but if you haven't,
if you haven't, I'm sorry, Mark, I'll give like the Cliff Notes, but it's a great, simple read. And in the early days of HubSpot, the only reason I got my job, Chris, and I'm telling you the only reason, was because they were doing basically an MIT experiment, hiring people with backgrounds that weren't necessarily fits. Actually, not necessarily, were not fits, but they achieved something great in their previous life or their life. We hired Olympic athletes. I was a professional classical musician. I had the benefit of being in the world's youngest touring chamber music orchestra when I was in high school. We recorded in private labels by the time I was 16. And I couldn't get a job after I graduated from Northwestern with a full ride and a 4.0 because I had a master's degree in viola performance and Beethoven and not marketing, tech, or whatever. And Brian thought it was pretty cool. So like, I don't know, we'll try it. She may work, she may not, but it seems interesting. Right. And so
that's insane.
Yeah. And that's in Mark's book. That's in Mark's book. They would hire on Coachability. That was the number one thing to hire an employee or a salesman was Coachability. And it was a very remarkable thing to say at the time. And quite frankly, I think it's still ahead of its time. I really do. Because what does that even mean?
Coachability is very difficult. The foundation of having that previous experience of done something great is nice because you had to go through probably very similar processes to be great. Hard work, failure, overcoming failure.
They're all similar. They're all
nitpicky, perfection. So it's like always 100% all the time.
All the time.
Oh yeah, I get it. It's exhausting, but I love it. I love being great.
Yeah.
I love the work behind being great and making mistakes that make me greater.
100%. But that's a growth mindset, because even the perfectionist will look at failure as failure and it can destroy you. But the winning mindset, and it's probably taken me 20 years of overcoming extreme performance OCD, which is typical of someone who achieves anything, that failure is an opportunity to learn. If you can adopt that mindset from the day you're born, which is what I drill into my little girl, you can do anything you want. But if you believe every time you mess up that you really should just go in the back, just like beat the heck out of yourself, you're awful. And, you know, some people get great that way, but it's not sustainable. It will take you down. Eventually the self-hate will take over, and, you know, the rest is mental health history, right?
And the pushback I get most often in that conversation is like, people bring up toxic positivity. And I'm not saying that like when things are tough, you can't be realistic about, like, you know, for my own example, there's been a few times where I've wanted growth to be super successful, but bad hires, clients not landing. Like I've had more than a couple very tough months.
Sure.
And I can be realistic about the scenario and still be positive that I can work my ass off to get over this hump. And then that what's on the other side of that was worth the pain. And so that, you know, I just want to say, like, there is such thing as toxic positivity. Being an optimist and being positive always is not the same thing.
Toxic positivity. There's definitely, I think, toxic positivity. Okay, so this is like episode number 4 that we've already listed today. So let's take toxic positivity. There always has to be a real component to life or to failure. But if I had to take the positive outlook versus the negative outlook, I'd take the positive all day long. I'd rather be overly positive than overly negative. And overly negative will always end in destruction, which sometimes we need. Sometimes we need to just be thrown into the ashes, build it back up and build back better, right? So is it toxic? It could be if someone's actually trying to cry that they're being harmed and someone's just gaslighting them and telling them, no, that's not true. That is toxic.
Correct.
But when we're talking about, like, you know, but the thing is, even all those failures, Chris, think about how many times, every single time something seemed like the world ended, and maybe it did. Like maybe it did. Like maybe everything you knew had to end. Without a doubt, I would bet my life that if you're still living and breathing today, you would see that, wow, that shook me right the heck up and put me in a direction that I needed to go. Thank God. I got back up, I put my big boy pants on, and away we go. Like guaranteed, scientific certainty. Could I have told my 16-year-old self that? My 16-year-old self had to be 43 to understand it.
Yeah, you know what? That's the beauty of time, honestly. And that's, I think, where wisdom comes from, is the ability to discern that reality you had when you were 16 versus now. And like the facts are still the facts, but man, you can't process that at 16. You weren't telling me nothing at 16. Yes. You're barely telling me nothing at 41. But we're working on that.
Yeah, I own 43. I'm really proud of 43.
I can feel it in your energy when we got to meet up at Inbound. It's just like you can just feel it.
Yeah, I think it's a great age. And I think 53 is going to be even better. And I think
I can't wait to experience you at 53. I can't see your energy levels dipping no matter what number you're at.
May I be blessed with the health to get me there, you know.
Amen.
May I see 53 and may I see 63, you know. But life is short. YOLO, you know what I mean?
YOLO is the phrase. With you being in, I'm going to kind of like take a step back just because I'm starting to understand like who our listeners are. And it's interesting. A lot of them are in their 40s and 50s and are leading groups, whether they're professors or, you know, they're running companies. And one of the interesting things about you is just, you know, My mom was a female chef in the 90s. There weren't a lot of chicks in the business in the 90s. So I've always
She's a beast, isn't she? She's awesome.
She is. She's part of the reason I've liked this. I can't wait. She flies in tomorrow for the wedding. I'm very excited. But when I view sales and I see sales now on LinkedIn, it still seems like a hyper masculine, dude oriented.
Sure.
What, if any, challenges have you experienced? And if you've experienced, like, what is your driver besides just being like Jilly Frat?
Dude, what a great question. What a great question.
I'll let my mom know that. If she wasn't her, I probably would have never thought to ask it.
Well, that's a fantastic question, because I'll tell you, I never felt like a female in sales until I was told I was one. When that started like to become a thing that people talked about, I was like actually blinded by it, because in the 80s and up until when someone told me I was a female in sales, quite frankly, when I in like my HubSpot years, I didn't even realize that I was a female in sales. And then I was like, well, that's interesting, because all of my mentors are men. And I've never felt anything but uplifted by them. So I'm like so confused by that. It was confusing to me, because I'm like, I was confused. Then the first time I ever felt like a female in sales was when I became a mother. That was the first time in my life. And I had been in sales for, I don't know, a long time at that point, because I felt the physical differences of like just bearing a child. Oh my God. I had to, when I was pregnant, I had to work my entire third trimester laying on my back from bed, like unable to physically move, because the child literally, at another time, in another year and 2 generations ago, like neither one of us would have made it out of that pregnancy alive. Like we wouldn't have, like modern medicine, like kept us alive. So that's the first time I ever felt like a female in sales. And you know what? That was my best year in sales.
Of course it was. Respect. That's
okay.
Amazing.
And why? Because I was just like taking nothing from no one, because I was so ill. And then I had a couple of my worst years of sales that I've ever had. After that, for reasons not necessarily for being a woman, but because life hit and life hits. And I had to learn that not being number one in sales wasn't the only identity that I had to hold, because I put a lot of my identity into being like a top sales rep. The dark side of that is even a top sales rep can have some pretty shaky years where HubSpot will be like, hey, Jilly, like, is it time for you to...
They're like cow pasture situation.
Like, no,
they old yellered you?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're like, just 2 shots, Timmy. God,
yeah, totally. Is it time to go behind the barn, Jilly? Like, are we good?
You had a good run.
No. I don't know. I still don't feel like a female in sales. I feel like Jill in sales. And
that's empowering.
I do think females hold a little bit of an advantage, quite frankly. If anything, I find it as an advantage, because I can say something really, really sharp with a smile, and it'll come off a little bit different than like when my husband says something a little bit sharp. And if you look at the sales charts at HubSpot, it's always been the majority of females. But women just, they gotta.
But I was about to just step into the most sexist thing ever.
Step into it.
Was like, well, you guys are probably better listeners, and you think when people are speaking, and so you have more accurate rebuttal.
Celebrate that. 100%. We sure are. Yeah,
Alex got trouble. We gotta bring Jilly F on the fucking crew. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, hell yeah. We're gonna have to bleep that one out. But so yeah, like we have different it's I don't know. I mean, it's we could go down all kinds of things that could be very, but yeah, it is. I still don't feel like a woman in sales. I feel like Jill in sales, and I have female qualities, and I also have some really masculine qualities. I mean, I could be a praying mantis and, eat my, prey's head off if they look at me the wrong way some days. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I love you so much.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, we can't really talk, us women can't really talk about it really, but I didn't know I was a woman in sales until someone told me I was one.
Yeah.
And I was pretty far into my career. So,
damn it for people like me bringing that shit up, but I'm glad other people can hear it regardless.
It's important conversation.
Yeah.
I'll have all day long.
So not advice for junior people in sales, but for like the sales executives that are listening, or people that are driving growth and revenue. What are some things that you feel are important with building your sales team, or whether it's hiring a few individual contributors, or if it's to bring on a proper group of people and a combination of both? If you could talk into someone right now and give them some advice from Jilly Frat, what would it be?
This is to the leader or the owner or the sales?
Yeah. Not the BDRs, not the SDRs on LinkedIn talking about Clay and automation outreach and not having any idea who your customers are and telling them what their address is with personalization tokens.
Number one, be human. Understand that you're not hiring robots. You're hiring human beings that need to be motivated as a human being. If you don't understand their goals personally, they will never care about yours. And, when in doubt, refer to number one. Like, remember that we're human beings and we have goals and needs and cater to them. Don't over cater. Right there, the same team. You know what? I actually just went back and forth with Brian Darmesh the other day. I sent them a long thank you. I was having a very strong moment of gratitude for the two of them for having the strength and wisdom to have created this company that has formed and shaped so many lives. And I remember a talk that Darmesh had given about we're a team, we're not a family. And, families accept things that you normally probably shouldn't. And families will let you say things that are super harmful and detrimental, but they'll still love you. Families will let you basically blow up everything and still keep you around. Teams don't do that. And I think, when you think about, building a team, that's really, it resonated with me. It still resonates with me, many, many years later after he gave that talk, because it's true.
That was I've had some minor interactions with Brian Halligan. Love what he's doing for the ocean. If he does listen to this,
me too. My husband's
my open invite to come out to Monterey still open. Come visit me out here.
Yeah.
Let's hit the aquarium. Darmesh, though, I've had more interactions with him. I've had the chance to have conversations with him a couple of years. And how is he so wise? What is his background pre-MIT? He just feels, he feels like he was born into wisdom. What do you, I just want to ask him that question. I don't have that one scripted. Yeah. It's just
Darmesh,
my mind is blown.
I don't want to misspeak on the story, but I know Darmesh was not born with much. And I know Darmesh, oh gosh, I don't know if he was born here or if he was born and became a citizen or was a citizen, but Darmesh has lived life, a lot of life, and someone who is as successful as him and Brian and still wear the same, probably the only reason they're not wearing the same t-shirt every day is because the PR crew is hey guys, I remember when Brian was giving one of the inbound talks and we were in the early rooms listening to their presentation before they get them. It was a thing. They're Brian, you can't wear dad jeans. And he's what are dad jeans? Like, because he wore like the same corduroys and the same, the two of them. Like, I think I did see Dharmesh still wearing the same T-shirt that I saw him wear 20 years ago. Like, these are not people who are in it for the money. Like, they're in it for, okay, and they're in it for giving back. I mean, the amount of angel investing that Dharmesh has. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't know, and he wouldn't want people to know. I don't know.
That kind of ties back to like this whole heart concept and the culture of HubSpot, it being like built in authenticity, like the ability to like find new opportunities for people where they weren't traditionally, to ensure the conversation is around team. I mean, I think, like, not to shamelessly plug my LinkedIn, but my post this morning was about culture and team, and like it's tough to create that, but it is incredibly liberating when the few instances of people that have like not talked about it but been about it for a while are success stories, and now other companies can be like, oh look, you don't have to be a dickhead to be successful and make money.
Nope. And you still can be and be successful and make money. It's the choice,
Yes.
But back when they talked about the concept of inbound marketing, was this whole concept that like little guys can win now. There's an internet. Like, we can outsmart Coca-Cola with marketing and become viral if we do things like a flash mob in the Cambridge Galleria, which I was a part of, where we wore HubSpot suits, Google it, and danced to Thriller and took over the Cambridge Galleria, knowing good and well that there was a chance we were going to get arrested that day. And we were prepared.
Oh, the good old days.
Flash mobs were like not allowed. Like, remember when people did that? We did it. Yep. It was hilarious.
So let's say you're the person in sales, right? And you're around energies like ours where you're high performing and you're like go, go, go all the time. And you hit that like day one of what's going to be an extended rough patch of sales. You don't know it yet, but when that first day's there and it sucks. Oof. Let's have Jilly F talk to that person right now and let them know. What's this piece of advice? They just hit P Club last year. They had a killer last 6 months, and this month is like 100%. Frozen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So something you don't know.
Help me, Jill.
Will help. Something you may not know about me, Chris, is that within the walls in HubSpot, and I hope it's helped at least one person. I give a coffee talk every year that I can in October, because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's about that topic right there. So
did not know that.
You didn't? Yeah. So it's within the walls of HubSpot. I haven't really expanded it because I don't know. It's like a little bit too vulnerable. I don't know. Anyways. But any great sales career is sprinkled with some pretty bad years. No great sales career, no great entrepreneur, which is what a salesperson is. A salesperson is an entrepreneur in a really nice, like, cushy, less, risk-taking role. That's what a salesperson is not peppered with some doozies. It's why people leave companies. It's why people quit sales, because it's just too darn embarrassing to be number one and then to be zero. And it can be mentally destructive. It can be physically destructive, and it makes people quit. So I have so much advice around this. The only thing that I would say in life is that you just have to keep going. It is never that bad that people don't want to see you tomorrow. And I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You can get there. Because it's really super embarrassing. I know exactly what it's like to put that I'm number one year after year after year after year. Oh, there's Jill again. There's Jill again. There's Jill again. And I know what it's like to be the last. And the embarrassment and the shame, and then the micromanaging because people have to see what's going wrong and why aren't you selling and all that stuff. So, and it can be really embarrassing. But if you just keep going, there is a rainbow.
Yeah. And I think like Finding Dory and Finding Nemo, right? I feel like that was like her big thing. Keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Sometimes the best advice is the most simple, right?
Yeah. Just don't give up.
Because you're only one of the factors for that bad month or bad quarter or bad year. There's other variables outside. Now, maybe you are, you're off your game a little bit. That's all right. Hydrate, go for a run or walk or whatever the form of refilling your cup is, and just keep going at it. And I found one of our early episodes, Daniel Smeglia of Apollo.I, formerly VP of community at Apollo, talked a lot about building a personal advisory board and just like a group of people that you can go to when things are tough. I feel like you've been on hundreds, if not thousands of people's personal advisory board of somebody they can go to when times are tough and just need that sprinkle.
I hope so, but I tell you,
too.
I'm still not on enough of them.
Maybe this will help.
I hope so.
So it's hard. You can't just I guess you could, but be walking around with like a picketed sign letting people know that you're to help. You have to connect with them, right? And
yeah, and sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. I wear a shirt that says, Valhalla can wait. And if you're a soldier, that means, suicide's not the answer, right? Sometimes I wear that shirt around. Sometimes I wear my suicide awareness shirts, and sometimes I think it's just a little too extra and too much, and maybe that would make people feel uncomfortable, and then I'll lose someone. I'll go, well, today I'm going to wear it today in case someone reads it.
Yeah.
I don't think we can help enough, and I think in circles where it's not talked about is the circles it needs to be. And sometimes it could just be wearing a t-shirt that says you matter, which someone made a joke about how silly they were. And then I wore that and I forgot I was wearing it. And the back of my shirt said, you matter, you're enough, you're here, you're beautiful, I love you. And I'm walking around with a neck brace because I had some issues. And I totally forgot I was wearing the shirt. And some woman stopped me and was almost in tears and took a picture of the back of my shirt. And I was like, that was a good thing I pulled that out of the laundry this morning.
I mean, yeah, it's the what ifs is a terrible place to live, just with all that stuff. Yeah, sorry.
Are you coughing or am I going to Barbara Walter you?
Like the little one. I'm going to get a little water in my throat. Or something.
Is that a frog in your throat?
Oh, my God. I mean, realistically, that's with both of us being so heavily involved in sales and entrepreneurship and new conversations and it being October, just saying that.
Oh my God, it's October.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is the month to be talking about it. And when you have personalities like this too, and people gravitate, I think I have a little bit of white knight syndrome where I feel a kind of increased need because I'm a large, broad-shouldered, bearded white dude to ensure that what should have been no problem for anybody to say gets said. And championing the mental health. And most of the team at Growth is not in sales, but they are in execution and solving complex problems. It requires a lot of brain lift. And so we joke a lot about hydrating at the start of meetings and on weekends and getting plenty of rest and getting outside, because it's not just sales that have to deal with the weight of work. Chefs deal with that, military deal with that, obviously, post office employees. I mean, it literally is everybody. Oh, wow. I mean, you can go down the list. Every job sucks at least a little bit, I would imagine.
100%.
Yeah. So it's really, one of the things I've enjoyed from the first time that we've connected was the positive attitude that you bring into the room. And I just remembered how we first connected, and not Brian Naltz, although we love him very much and always will. We had a strange connection where Growth helped a community music school, right? Do you remember that? That's before. Yeah. Merit School of Music needed to use HubSpot to help with their student enablement. And Katrina on our team had worked with McPhail School for Music and then got brought into Merit through BNalt. So maybe that is how that happened. And then, yeah, we ended up building their system. And then you're an alumni of the school or a former staffer. Was that the job you had before you worked at HubSpot?
Yeah, I worked there through college. I was a teacher and we would teach underprivileged kids music. And I'm not kidding. I just finished my estate plan, and the Merit School of Music is part of my estate plan. My husband knows, should I pass before he does, there's money to go to Merit. Like, that's going in my name. Those kids, oh no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to cry. Those kids changed my life just as much as the music changed them. And I remember oh, I can't. I don't think I can get into it and keep a.
Let's do this on a future episode. I know that the emotion that is coming from you is of just like gratitude and
just love, and to see a child who was a foster child, 3 of them, be adopted by a saint of a woman, and music be the thing that get them into private school, to get them out of a bad South Side Chicago ghetto beyond anything that even in Boston people could understand, and to have had a little part of that, to get them up there and clapped. Someone clapped for these kids and no one ever told them they ever did anything right, will never not sit with me in a way that will, after I'm gone, may there be a scholarship in my name, And the fact that like that came up on a call with one of your teammates, I remember the conversation. I was like, excuse me, what did you just say? Like, what? And that was before Brian.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, like
Katrina Horn.
Like.
It's the universe we're in. We started, I don't know if it was recorded or not. I don't remember where we were, if this was pre-show or whatever, but we were talking about how hard it is to connect with people in this universe. And that was me. I've got a side of pessimism in what I say. Yeah. And then you responded with, but you can also meet anybody pretty much any time now. And that is so true, which is you and I, Rich and I, the 3 of us are all examples of how the internet and the universe as it is today can be a very big force for good and connection and community.
Right. Like most things human built, there's the dark and there's the light. Just go towards the light.
Keep swimming towards the light.
Towards the light. Avoid the dark,
I think that's a great final message. Life is hard, and adulting is hard, and responsibility is hard, and leading teams is hard, and being on a team is hard. That's the human story. It's not easy. So no. I'm very appreciative of you volunteering your time. This is not a paid episode. You're just a wonderful human, and I'm so happy you get to share your story. And this will probably be like, maybe we do this every season where we get to catch back up and like talk through. Amazing. Mental health is always a priority to talk about. And
you can have me on any day of the week to talk about mental health in corporate settings, which is where it's needed the most.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yep.
Rich, do you want to ask the final question of every episode?
Yes, of course.
Oh, no.
Jill, what is the last song you listened to on Spotify or whatever listening
streaming service
app you have,
or record if you're still listening to records?
Well, it's funny. I actually bought a bunch of records home, one of which being Lionel Richie. But I'm going to answer the question directly because it's right here, and it's the first time I ever listened to like a true crime docuseries ever. I'm a listen to either a podcast or music on Spotify, but I literally this morning just almost finished Scamanda.
I have not heard of Scamanda. What does Scamanda stand for?
So Scamanda is this woman, and I'm not going to give the punchline because this is all I knew. So I knew this, and I was like, how do they make this like an 8-hour series? Like, how could it be that interesting? But it's this woman who literally convinced everyone around her and her congregation and her church that she had cancer, and she didn't.
Ooh.
And it took 5 years of a federal investigation to indict her. It was like shocking. And I'm sitting there going like, what? I have never listened to the phone while I'm walking around. Like I'm like the last finale. It's like, what? And I knew the storyline and it still was captivating. And I'm like, apparently I need to listen to more stories, because typically it's always self-help. Like if you look at myself, it's like always like anytime there's silence, it's how can I better myself? How can I get better? And it's like, eventually I just like, can I just like stop beating myself up and like realize that like I can like listen to a story? And I listened to a story. It was a long
Amanda is the person or the storyteller, or to whom the story is being told about? Amanda
is the person. Scamanda is the story about it. How genius is that name? Scamanda. Scamanda. You could get scamanded. Don't get scamanded. It's not.
I won't. I won't. I would have known that I could get scamanded, but I will tell you now, it ain't happening. Chris isn't getting scamanded. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. You're not going to forget that one.
You can't.
That'll be your first scamanda answer.
Putting that in the company culture code. Don't get scamanded.
Don't get scamanded.
What's on your list, Chris?
Oh, shit. It's actually, so I'm getting ready for a wedding. So it's me trying to break out songs that will get approved by Katrina Horn for the wedding. Shabuzi David Guetta remix. She likes line dancing and I like house music.
So wait, excuse me, you said wedding a few times.
Sunday.
Is your wedding?
Yeah, yep. It is.
So like for real? Like how do I not know this? I feel horrible.
Don't feel horrible. None of this was supposed to be on a recorded show, but fuck it. You can bleep that out too.
Well, I said Scamanda, so it's all fair.
Scamanda, I think, passes the filter.
I was going to cry today, and I cried anyway. So,
listen, this is an emotional story. So, yes, I am marrying Growth's Director of Client Success, Katrina Horn, on Sunday. We met before she started working for Growth. She's been here for about 5 years. We met in San Francisco on Tinder, pre-COVID. If you can do the math, that's obvious. When I met her, I'll tell a story. Hopefully I don't cry. When I met her, one of her first dates, she was working in San Francisco in tech and project management. And technically she was the connection between online orders being made for custom wedding dresses and working with thousands of dresses at a time. She was on the cover of New York Times, or maybe it was Wall Street Journal, but it's a beautiful photo of her. And I could just see her managing all these projects. And there's so many thoughts and communication that go into a dress, right? And she just had the ability to project manage this at a scale. And the first thing I thought, because I'm a shameless salesman all the time, was, man, if I put you in an agency, we would crush it. Because that's like the number one problem with managing clients is the attention to detail and communication. Sure enough, COVID happened. They let go of some of their team. Obviously, people weren't getting married, so demand went down. She got cut. We picked her up. The rest is history. Now we're getting married in Monterey on Sunday. Shout out to Katrina Horn. Yeah, she's a beast.
Wow. She sounds...
You've had a chance to meet her, right? We chatted. We had lunch at Inbound.
Oh, yeah. Now it's all connecting the dots.
No, it's crazy.
Oh, my gosh. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I try to keep it like not front and center. It usually takes people a couple of months of working at Growth to put 2 and 2 together.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like, I totally get that. Like, why do they need to know? Like,
yes.
Why does it matter?
It does. She runs the show. It's very obvious. Like, even if you didn't know we were together, she is the brains behind the operation. Yes.
So cute. So my husband and I are the rare couple that work really well together. Like, not all couples can, and it's definitely a really special gift if you can,
We love it. We do have a physical office that we go to, and that helps. But like very often, most evenings and mornings, like growth is on top of mind. We're in a great place right now. We're helping a lot of customers. We have great employees. We're solving problems. We found what we love to do, and we get to do it with like our best friends, like each other. And we've become very good friends with everybody at Growth. We want people that we want to hang out with here, right? Just like you said that HubSpot created, you would hang out with anybody. We hope that if you have Growth alumni, that you are a cool dude or dudette or whatever label you prefer.
Yeah, no matter if someone has an exit, there was actually an agency that I used to work with that actually paid for people to quit. And it was like a term. It's like, hey, if it's your time, just let us know. We'll give you a bonus. We'll give you a couple months. Can you help us find your replacement? And like, it's kind of smart. It's like,
yeah.
Hey, like we're not here to, force you to work for us. Like we want you to have a great time while you're here. We want you to have a great time when you're gone. And if you're an agency, you're super smart because if they decide to go into a corporate job, maybe they take you with them.
It seems like a very good way to go. We use a lot of rugby terminology. There's no rugby players here except for me when I was younger.
Oh, you're a rugby guy? Of course you are. Of course you are.
Big time. I'm a big dude. I can like lay it down pretty hard, right? So, but we talk about the team being a team. I know we were trying to wrap this up 5 minutes ago, but being a team with the All Blacks or any kind of brand, it's going to survive your tenure on the team. And so while you're here, we expect that you're going to probably work harder, play harder than you would before coming here. But when you're ready to retire, you're ready to move off, let us help you. Let's trade you while your stock is high at Growth. And you'll probably make a little bit more money and probably work a little less hard at the next place. And that's okay because it's a lot being around me all the time.
It's a lot being around a great leader of which you are that wants to do great things. Like it's just.
We're a lot.
Yeah, we're a lot.
Also, thank you for that beautiful compliment. Venmo'd $50. That worked.
It's true. It's true. And you know what? I used to be called a leader around here, and I could never figure it out because I'm like, but I'm not a leader. I'm not a manager. And I'm like, what am I leading? I'm leading no one. Like, no. Like you lead by example. Live your life well. And be good to people. Like that's a leader. Like you don't have to be a manager to be a leader. You don't have to be a business owner to be a leader. You lead by example and living a good life.
That's right.
That's a leader. So you're a good leader, Chris.
Thank you, Jill. I appreciate that.
It's true.
All right. That's perfect. A huge compliment is a perfect way to wrap this show. We've got a couple of shameless plugs we got to drop, of course.
Yep. So if you love this episode, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and the notification bell if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, hit that follow button somewhere down there and tune on in. Also, HubSpot's new Breeze is a game changer if you know how to use it. And we do. So we're hosting the first Breeze workshop cohort through Growth. Link is in the show notes. It's free. Join it and sign up. Anything else, Chris?
Thanks, man. Sorry, once again, didn't get to speak much, but your energy was here.
I get to absorb and learn. That's what's important.
Jill, you are such a rock star. I'm so thankful. We've been able to cross paths so many times. And yeah, thank you.